Guys, today I'm going to talk about the craziest division in NCAA history. I honestly think this is the most stacked division of all time in NCAA wrestling because this is an outlier year. Usually you have seniors who are dominating this division. And yeah, you have a senior, the reigning defending national champion, Lucas Bird, coming off a dominant season. And going into the season, he was favored to repeat. And I still think he can repeat. But now you have like 5 or 6 freshmen that just came over and took this division by storm. And they're all undefeated. And I honestly think we're going to have more All-American freshmen than all the other classes combined. I think we will have 6 or 5 All-American freshmen. And don't be surprised if we have 2 freshmen in the finals. And we have Lucas Bird, the defending dominant national champion, be a 3rd place or even a 5th place. It's hard to believe that. It's hard to believe that. Seriously, this is why this weight class, the imagination, the matchups, like, I'm going to go into it on how I want to see this tournament play out. But let's go over the resumes and the quality of this division. Usually in a division, you have 1 or 2 guys who are really championship level champions, if that makes any sense, in a division. Like Mitchell Messenbrink, he's the only guy, to be honest, who I think is going to win that division. You might have Lockett, who's, a freshman, he's a stud, but he's not on Mitchell Messenbrink's tier. We've seen Lockett get whooped by Messenbrink. But the resume that these freshmen have is absurd. For example, let's talk about the 2 most popular names. Marcus Blaze, who's undefeated 16-0 from Penn State, the most dominant team over the last 2 decades, right? And Jax Forrest, a resurgence Oklahoma State program led by PSU legend David Taylor, Olympic gold medalist, right? Who started the Penn State dynasty. So, Jax Forrest, 8-0. Marcus Blaze, 16-0. These 2 guys as youth wrestlers, guys, were beating NCAA Division I champions, grown men, just to qualify for the Olympic trials. So they were in the tournament. They were in smaller tournaments, loaded with high-quality competition, just to get to the big tournament. And that tournament will let you go to the Olympics. So just to get to the trials, they had to go through beasts. And not only did they make it, they wrestled for the 3rd place match. 2 high schoolers wrestling for 3rd place. That means the finals matchup with 2 guys were the only ones ahead. And the only ones ahead that year were Spencer Lee, basically the GOAT of 125, and Thomas Gilman, a beast freestyle world champion wrestler. So you're telling me it takes 2 men, an Olympic silver medalist, GOAT of 125, and a world champion at 125. It takes those 2 men to stop these 2 youth high school wrestler phenoms. Like, not every Olympic trials you're going to have that type of quality 125 wrestlers in your finals matchup. That's special. And any other year, Jax Forrest and Marcus Blaze are wrestling in those finals and going to the Olympics, one of those 2. That's how stud they are, and they're freshmen. And it shows on the record, 16-0. They're starters for really good programs. They're not starters for a small program. They're at big programs. Marcus Blaze at the biggest program. Undefeated, 16-0. Jax Forrest, Oklahoma State, 3rd best program in the country right now, 8-0. Not to mention Kyler Larkin, the Larkin brothers, who I just learned about this year. This guy's undefeated too. He just has a medical forfeit, and he's beating an NCAA Division I champion in Richard Figueroa, who, he's not in his best form right now. And he did have a decline, but still, when you can beat a Division I champion as a freshman, that shows your quality, right? And then you got Evan Frost, who's a junior, and ever since he entered college, he was really good. I think in his freshman year, he went to the Big 12 Championships final against Dayton Fix, and he wrestled a close match. Like, Dayton Fix was going to win that because he's a veteran and he's a high-quality wrestler. But Evan Frost, he did his best and, didn't get embarrassed. And it's only been up from there for him. But the competition has caught up with Evan Frost. Like, Evan Frost would have won this year's national title, I believe, or at least went to the finals if these were just regular good freshmen, but these are special type of freshmen. We're in February where we've wrestled, or teams have wrestled at least 8 duels. and you've went into some tournaments, and NCAA is only a month away. We're closer to the end of the season than we are to November, obviously. And you still have undefeated freshmen in your top 8 rankings. And let me tell you who's not even in the top 8, because in order to be an All-American, guys, you need to be 8th place or higher. And you think, oh, 8th place, that's not even impressive. Well, when you have 32 ranked wrestlers, that means these guys are studs, right? 32 go to the tournament. 8 out of the 32 only get recognition for being a really good wrestler. And those are just 32 out of all the wrestling programs in the country in Division 1. So it's like levels upon levels. You're telling me the 8 best include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 undefeated freshmen. And they're all in elite programs. Virginia Tech, very good program. Jax Forest at Oklahoma State, very good program. Kyler Larkin at Arizona State. Arizona State is a respectable program. They've had champions come out of that. They've had a champion at 125 2 years ago with Richard Figueroa, like I said. Had multiple finalists. Before Richard, they had Brandon Courtney, right? So it's a respectable program. They had Valencia come out of there, very good. So Kyler Larkin at Arizona State, undefeated. Marcus Blaze at the current reigning dynasty of Penn State, undefeated. Then you have Ohio State, the second best program in the nation right now, with a crazy resurgence and a stacked team overall. And they have a good chance to beat Penn State in the duel that's coming up. But I can see a future where they can pull off the craziest upset in a long time. They have the potential. Is it probable? I don't think so. But it is possible. I could see Ohio State making it a 60-40 type of matchup if the cards play in their favor for the most part. So then you have, Ben DeVino. And this is like the holy trinity of the freshman wrestlers. It's Jax Forest, So it's Jax Forest, Marcus Blaze, Ben DeVino. Like, these 3 are like in a wrestling triangle. Ben DeVino has lost to Marcus Blaze, but he recently beat him in a folk style the last time they wrestled folk style. So they've gone back and forth. But Ben DeVino, he's like, don't forget about me. Like, he right now, he has the best season out of anybody in the country, and he's a freshman. You would expect Marcus Blaze or Jax Forest to have the best freshman season, and they are having very good seasons. But Ben DeVino has taken storm and dominated everybody. He's not just beating people. He's tech falling everybody. That's why I say I think DeVino's going to win the upcoming match against Marcus Blaze. I would not be surprised. That's why I say Ohio State has a good chance. Look, tech fall, decision, tech fall, sudden victory. Cortez must be a stud, honestly. Don't know him. Tech fall, major decision. Tech fall, decision, tech fall, fall. Decision. He has more tech falls than decision, guys. That's number 1 type of wrestler quality. Oh my gosh, my dog is coughing. Cough balls or whatever. Anyways, let's look at the wrestlers who are not in the top 8. So, Jacob Van D was an All-American last year, and he's 11th. Tyler Knox was an All-American, and he's ranked 10th. Drake Ayala, guys. You're telling me a 2-time national runner-up. So that means you were 1 win away from being a national champion. A 2-time runner-up. That means you're consistently a high performer. So he's proven he's consistently good. He's 9th place. Coming into this year, you would have been like, okay, it's Lucas Bird versus Ayala all over again. But because we have such a stacked class with a bunch of abomination prodigy wrestlers, that has bumped down a proven elite college wrestler all the way out of the top 8. So if this finishes out, if the season ends like this with these rankings, a 2-time national runner-up who's still wrestling good, doesn't even All-American. National runner-up to not even All-American. What kind of follow-up is that? That's unheard of. Especially if you're healthy. Like Andrew Lears last year, Richard Figueroa, they were not healthy, so it's like, okay. National champions, that they don't even All-American. That's crazy, but they were injured. But Drake Ayala is healthy. And it's possible. There is a possible reality where he does an All-American. And I'm not even aware of Zan Fujit. Like, I'm not familiar with this wrestler, but he must be a stud if he's ranked ahead Tyler Knox and Drake Island. Let's look at his resume, actually. Let's look at him. So he's only lost to Ben Davino, 7-2, so he didn't get tagged. So relatively competitive, respectable loss. But he lost to a guy from Utah Valley, so Rivera. All right, I like the name. I think he has some good willpower. That's why he lost to him. Then a sudden victory loss to number 16, Ethan. So he has ranked wins. I mean, he beat Drake Ayala. That's why he's ranked so high. That makes sense. And he has multiple ranked 10s in the 10 to 20 range. So solid wins, and there were falls, major decision. Okay. He just has a weird loss here from Utah Valley. And a sudden victory loss to number 16. Coached by Army West Point. Is that the team coached by Troy Nickerson now? I wonder. So, yeah, good wrestler overall, but his best win is Drake Ayala in a decision. And I honestly think, not a fluke win, but Drake Ayala is wrestling way better now. He's peaking at the right time. So, if they wrestle again, I expect Drake Ayala to major this guy, to be honest. So, this guy could potentially All-American. Based on his other wins, I think the Ayala win was an outlier. But he's definitely like a potentially 8th place to a 12th place type of wrestler. That's what I see from Zan Fujit. But other than that, I don't expect much from this guy. He's the most flexible guy who can All-American, but I would not be surprised if he doesn't. And let's go further down the list. You have Dom Serrano, who was undefeated this year until that one loss to Evan Frost. And I watched the match, guys. So this guy, Dominic Serrano, was the Big 12 champion last year. He was ranked high as 5 last year. He just hasn't had a good tournament. He has the skills to All-American, but I don't think he has the mental pedigree to do it. And I hope this year he can, because I support Northern Colorado wrestling, right? Go Bears. But he lost 7-1 to Evan Frost, but this match was really close. It was a lot of underhooks, I think. They were taking shots at each other. Good defense by both. And they got into a scramble that Evan Frost won. I think Serrano took a shot, and then Evan Frost scrambled, and he reversed that shot and got a takedown on Serrano. And then another shot was taken at the end of the match, and then, it was like last-second takedown. So it was a really competitive match, and the score doesn't reflect this. I think if they wrestle again, Serrano could beat Evan Frost. I would not be surprised. Serrano is a quality wrestler. If you beat Serrano, you're likely to All-American, to be honest. He's like the gatekeeper of an All-American type of wrestler because he's a conference champion. So if you beat that type of wrestler, you're going to All-American, most likely. And what else? Evan Frost. Wait, who else did he lose to? I mean, Tyler Knox is a stud. Jacob Van D. So All-American, national runner-up, Big 12 champion from last year. All of these guys are outside the top 8. And freshmen took their spots. And it's crazy. We could really see a reality where a Jacob Van D, Drake Ayala, Serrano. I mean, Serrano's never been an All-American, but this year I thought he would be. But I don't think he might because I think he's improved as a wrestler, but not enough to close the gap on these freshmen who are just studs. Now, what do I think is going to happen in this weight class, guys? Let's not forget who we just lost. All of these guys would have been ranked one spot lower if it wasn't for Ryan Crookham getting injured. Don't forget, Ryan Crookham was part of this division about 2 weeks ago, an even more loaded weight class. Ryan Crookham was the guy who beat Vito Arujau, the most recent multiple-time champion in this division. This is the Vito Arujau who beat RBY, stopped him from repeating, ended his 56-match win streak, and then he went on to become a world champion, that Vito Arujau. Crookham beat that Vito Arujau 2 times 2 years ago. And ever since then, we were like, this is Crookham's division. Just wait for him to get healthy. He's going to dominate. He's going to be a multiple-time champion. And unfortunately, we've been robbed of great performances at the tournament from this guy. I think he would have been at least 3rd place last year or made the finals. I think he could have beaten Lucas Bird in the match. He has the physicality to do that. Or I think he could have beaten Drake Ayala. That would have been a really sick match. And honestly, Crookham, I think he's going to be a senior next year. I hope he uses a medical rest for both years. Like, I want to see this guy compete 4 healthy seasons. So I hope he did a medical rest or whatever retros that he can do to extend his college career. Because honestly, this is another thing, guys. This is good for college wrestling because of NIL. These guys are big name athletes and they're already making a splash as freshmen. And if you can keep them around college for a long time and they keep performing well in college and in international, it's going to grow the sport. And these guys, college wrestling is basically the pros of wrestling because these guys get a lot of money just to compete for these big universities, right? A university can fund you very good money compared to international sponsors who are not backed by any organization that has other forms of revenue, right? A university has other sports that bring in revenue, like football. They have education programs that bring in revenue. They get donations, sponsors from alumni who love that university and institution. Like, they have many forms of revenue so they can sponsor the athletes to stay and compete and, perform. In Olympic or internationals, you don't have institutions with billions of dollars being made every year to support these athletes. So it's really good that freshmen of this caliber all came at the same time because it's you can create a storyline out of this, right? This is a special year. I really wish we had Ryan Crookham. We would see the best of the best proven junior and senior wrestlers, high quality championship level wrestlers, take on the abomination mutants of the freshmen. Like, who's going to take over the division? The proven, experienced, elite wrestlers versus the abomination freshmen. Like, it's a clash of both worlds. Like, forget the sophomores, forget the juniors. This is a graduate level defending champion, and he could very likely lose to any of these freshmen because they're all beasts. This is crazy. Like, when have you seen a disparity this crazy where it's either the freshmen or the graduate seniors, right? The middle class is cooked. Oh, that is so funny. That is so weird to think about. Like, forget all the wrestlers in the sophomore to junior. Forget them. It's the freshman versus the upperclassmen. What an interesting. Because look, Dom Serrano's a graduate level senior. Lucas Bird is a graduate level senior. Tyler Knox, I believe, is a sophomore. Jacob Van D is a junior. Okay, so we got some good wrestlers in the middle ground, but they're not the peak of the peak, right? This is a conference level, conference champion. This is a national champion, and then you got the studs coming into college. And you got wrestlers from Penn and Cornell and all other good programs that are not even in the top 12. That's crazy. Yeah, guys, so now let's go into my predictions. Who's going to win this weight class? This is so tough because we have one. And if we had Crookham still healthy, I would say Crookham, Bird. So 3, 4. So I would say 4 guys they are like national title favorites if you put them in a weight class. Like, if you put Lucas Bird in a 125 and a 144-pound weight class, like any of those 3 divisions, he's a title favorite. At least going to make the finals, likely. That's what I think. Same with Ryan Crookham. He's that type of quality wrestler where he should make the finals. Marcus Blaze, his international experience, he has competed in larger, more important tournaments, and he's performed well. So the NCAAs, while they are one of the best tournaments you can compete in with such quality matchups, he has experience that is going to trump. Like, he's not going to be shocked by the big stage lights of an NCAA Division I tournament. So I expect Marcus Blaze to be in the finals. Same with Jax Forrest. And I didn't even mention Drake Ayala, the only guy who's proven to be in finals multiple times. So we have Drake Ayala, Marcus Blaze, Lucas Bird, Jax Forrest. That's 5. Ryan Crookham, 6. So you have 6 championship level guys, proven championship level guys, whether they've been to a finals in a D1 tournament or an international or a U.S. tournament of high relevance. You have 6 main character type of wrestlers in one division. Not to mention the other guys like Ben DeVino, who I haven't seen him wrestle like that much, but he's wrestling like a championship level wrestler. And you got Evan Frost, who's competed at the conference championships and he's getting better every year. Like, you have 6, 8, like anybody in this top 8 besides Fugit, who I don't know much about. Everybody, all of these guys, Ayala, Crookham, you would have had 10 guys, 9 guys, who are championship level wrestlers in one division. Seriously, think about that. That is so special. They're all in any tournament you go, and you place one of these guys in a tournament, they're a favorite to win the tournament or at least be top 2. And you got 8 and 9 of those type of wrestlers in one division. Imagine you had that many type of wrestlers in the 165 division. Imagine you had 8 other guys who could challenge Mitchell Messenbrink and have the caliber, have the resume to look at them as a favorite wrestler to win the title. Imagine if Mitchell Messenbrink's or Jesse Mendes' division had that many elite competition. Think about that. That's why this division is so stacked, and we're not going to get a division like this again. We're not. Now, imagine in another reality where Ono went to a different program and you just threw in Masanosuke Ono into this mix. I'm done. Guys, even the best 133-pounder in the world, who's at Penn State right now, it's not Marcus Blaze, it's Ono. He's not even wrestling in the active lineup this year. So really, imagine Marcus Blaze if he went to like another program, right? And Ono filled in the spot. You'd have Marcus Blaze and Ono, basically the 2 guys who made the U20 finals that one year, into this. World champion Ono with all these other monsters and studs and champions. Like, this is so special, guys. It gets me excited just thinking about the matchups. Now, what do I want to see in the tournament? I want to see in the tournament where you have in the quarterfinals, because that's where really you start to get the banger matchups. I want to see in the quarterfinals a senior or experienced wrestler face one of the freshman studs. I don't want to see the freshmen take each other out unless they're in the semis or in the finals, right? And I also don't want to see the seniors take each other out too early. I want to see like the seniors band together and take out the freshmen early on and, then take out each other, right? The freshmen versus the seniors. Who are the better wrestlers? Because I want to see that style matchup. I want to see the experience gap. I want to see if the experience of D1 wrestling, like being a senior champion in D1 wrestling, is still enough to hold off these international freshman studs. And that's going to show a lot. It's going to change history because if you are a freshman stud like Jax Forrest, Marcus Blaze, even Ben DeVino, right? Kyler Larkin, Aaron Seidel, but specifically Blaze and Forrest. If you are young and you do a lot of international and tournaments and compete at a high level there, coming into college, you could dominate right away like they are. And that incentivizes youth wrestlers to really put in a lot of work because with NIL, you could start making a lot of NIL money freshman year. You're not going to have to, ride out your freshman year, maybe get a little bit of NIL, and then prove yourself your second year. And then hopefully All-American or win a title, and then try to get your bag at the end as a senior or a junior, right? You've already wasted 2 years of good NIL money. Prove your worth in the international scene before you go to college, and then you enter college with a great NIL offer, making $1 million. Like I heard Bo Bassett made $1 million from Iowa or something. Something crazy. That's Bo Bassett. He wouldn't even beat Marcus Blaze or Jax Forrest, to be honest. In my opinion. He wouldn't beat PJ Duke right now. And he's getting paid that much. Like, I don't want to even think about what these guys are making because it's crazy. They deserve it. But, like, that's going to change that's going to change the quality of wrestlers entering their freshman year. You're going to have a revolution of freshmen coming in ready to win titles. And that used to be rare. Maybe Sriracha, you would get like an Aaron Brooks or a Sriracha type of wrestler every now and then. And those guys went on to become 4-time champions. But imagine you got 3 or 4 or 5, like here, like we're seeing 5 guys that are Aaron Brooks level or Carter Sriracha level, with potential 4 NCAA title, like quality wrestling, like that type of pedigree. You don't just have 1, you have 4 of them coming in the same year. Now, the balance of power is restored. And yeah, you might have a guy, instead of winning 4, he might win 2. And the other 2 go to like another one of those studs that they went to, or maybe it's also, or maybe every year they just go back and forth. And then everybody's like, oh, I want this guy to win. And then people get invested, right? People don't want to see a dominant champion just steamroll a whole division, right? We all know in college duels, like a Mitchell Messenbrink, like, sometimes I don't even watch his matches because I already know what's going to happen. He just smokes guys. Like, all right, like, I just want to see if he beats them in a different way that I haven't seen before. But I already know he's going to whoop them. I only tune into those type of matches from a dominant wrestler if they're facing a top 10 guy. But with Messenbrink or Jesse Mendes, I really don't even consider 6th place and above quality competition. They got to face top 5 for me to be interested, right? In this division, a top 10 wrestler is like a championship level wrestler. So you're going to get banger matchups more frequently, and it's going to like just change the landscape of wrestling. This is exciting, guys. This is so exciting. And I think this can only happen in the lower weight classes because, the upper weight classes, the talent pool is dispersed among other sports, like especially 197, 184, and heavyweight. Obviously, the heavyweight elite guys usually go to football or something like that. 1 second, I'm getting a call. Hello, this is Michael speaking. I think I just had a high schooler call me for advice. But anyways, let's just wrap up this video, guys. I'm just looking at the wrestling rankings. This is a special. Oh, yeah. So in the quarterfinals, like I said, I want to see the seniors versus the freshmen. And then, after that, let it play out. So I want to see like a Lucas Bird versus a Marcus Blaze matchup in the quarters, and then an Evan Frost versus a Ben DeVino in the quarters, or a Kyler Larkin versus a Drake Ayala in the quarters. I want to see an Aaron Seidel versus a Dominic Serrano, or a Tyler Knox, or a Jacob Van D, right? I want to see those type of matchups in the quarters, and then we'll really see if the upperclassmen are better than the lower ones, right? Because style matchups makes everything. The freshmen are more familiar with the freshmen, and the seniors have wrestled each other enough times where it can go either way. But when it's a fresh matchup, it's really about skills and who is the better or smarter wrestler that day, in my opinion. And who's going to win this division? I honestly think, guys, depending on the seeding, I think we're going to get like hopefully Jax Forrest takes off the red shirt. I want to see this madness. I think, guys, I can't even make a prediction. If I say Lucas Bird, yeah. If I say Marcus Blaze, yeah. If I say Jax Forrest, yeah. Ben DeVino. I'm not so confident in Ben DeVino because he hasn't beaten Marcus Blaze, but I need to see that. If he loses to Marcus Blaze, I don't think he'll win a natty, as long as Marcus Blaze doesn't get eliminated by anyone else. But Ben DeVino's a good pick. Evan Frost, I think he's going to be top. I think he could be top 5. I want to see his style go up against a Marcus Blaze or Ben DeVino because I think he has the body and physicality to neutralize these guys. And the experience, too. Man, and Carly Larkin's pretty good. Man, this is such exciting wrestling. Just thinking about all these matchups makes me like, man, I want to watch them all. I want to see all these guys wrestle. So, yeah. Random pick right now, I'm going to probably take Ben DeVino or Jax Forrest to win 133. But Aaron Seidel is a monster, bro. I haven't even seen this guy wrestle all the time, but look at this beast. Tech fall, fall, tech fall. Major decision. So his worst win has been a major decision, 12-0. He didn't even give up points. And it's number 10. Guys, holy smokes. I actually stand corrected. This guy has the most impressive resume. Now, a lot of his competition has been at tournaments where they put like the backups in. But still, to only give up 1 point max, that means he can turn guys at will. Not even Mitchell Messenbrink or these other high quality wrestlers put in the effort to turn guys because it's so hard to pin people. But this guy has gone 2 falls, but he's getting points where he can ride guys out. He's proven he can ride guys out, turn them, get points folk style way, not in the like freestyle way, and finish the match. Absolutely, bro. Aaron Seidel is a monster. Holy crap. Wow. All right, guys. I think Aaron Seidel is actually going to be top 3. I'm going to say Aaron Seidel versus Lucas Bird, 3rd place matchup. And I say Marcus Blaze. Man, I want to say Marcus Blaze, Jax Forrest finals, but it depends on the seeding, guys. But I do know this. One freshman will be in the finals. And a freshman will win the national title. A freshman will win the national title if they're seeded evenly, right? I don't want to see them load all the freshmen on one side of the bracket and, give Lucas Bird a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady farewell type of bracket, right? That's going to be just trash for the sport. Load up all these studs on Lucas Bird's side, and I want to see Lucas Bird run the gauntlet. And I want to see him earn a second title overcoming every studs. I want to see Bird versus Blaze in the quarterfinals. And then I want to see him go against, who else? Seidel in the semis, and then face a Jax Forrest in the finals type of thing, right? If he can beat those 3 in the tournament, that'd be nuts, bro. He should. Look, let me tell you, and I don't think the Hodge winner is going to come out of this division, but if Lucas Bird can beat Ben DeVino, Marcus Blaze, Jax Forrest, or Aaron Seidel, 3 of those guys, or if he's lucky, if he can even get 4 of those on his resume, but I think the max he can get is 3, but probably 2 on those guys on his run to the title. If he can get 3, though, 3 of these freshmen on his resume, and then another proven All-American like down here, in his run to the title, give him the Hodge. Because the quality of competition is just on another level. You have to give him the Hodge. You just have to. Anybody who comes out undefeated out of this class has to get the Hodge, in my opinion. Messenbrink and Jesse Mendez are dominating, but their divisions are weak, relatively speaking, compared to 133. So the winner of this, if they end up undefeated, give them the Hodge rest of the year. Thanks.